We all come to pray, going back for warriors, keeping the whispers away. In suits and in skirts, we're the rebels you say, talking about life and dreaming of a different day. On the back row we stay, in the back we don't sway, just let the sermon flow. We're on the back row.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall, an Articles of News episode. He has removed the cap. He has thrown away the wand. He has left the cape on, actually. Check it out on YouTube. It is the news wizard himself. Verlin, how are you, sir?
I am well. How are you on this beautiful Tuesday?
Gray here. It is a gray here, and people listening to this are like, it's not Tuesday. It is gray. I've already been outside. We had wind, lots of wind. I had to pick up all of the wind branches this week. That was the first task of the day, and then getting after it, doing
as
work.
they say in Utah, we always need moisture.
Yes, please
right?
bless.
Here in North Carolina, we're in the middle. We've had 2.5 solid days of rain, and another 2 days coming. They say a total of 5 to 6 inches.
Jeez, is it going to be okay? Are the scars healed? Or
scars aren't completely healed yet, but it's not coming as fast as the last issue came, so they're not projecting any big washouts.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
A shout out to my friend Verlin, who has connected us with, if you've listened to Anson's interview recently, I think that's 927. You can go check that out. Pretty cool. Here's the thing.
Pretty cool. And my friend Anson lived up to exactly what I expected from an interview with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he was great. What I think is pretty cool about him, the winningest coach, right? Soccer coach. Yeah. But what I thought was cool is I talked to other people who are not members of our faith and said, hey, I got to interview Anson, and they said, wow, that's really awesome. So you know that it's cool when it's not just members of the faith that go, that's cool.
Absolutely. It's something we should publicize a little more.
I know. Here's how much time listen, you're hired. The pay is terrible. I know you have a consulting day or two. Give me a day, 1 day a week. That's all I
Okay. 1 day a week is great. I'll charge you my regular going rate.
I can't hear you. You broke up there. I'm not sure what that last part is, but I did hear that you were going to take it on. That's awesome. I want to get into a couple things, so I'm going to try, because we never get into enough news, we are going to try, Verlin and I, to just have this opening exercises be 20 minutes or less. In fact, moving forward, unless there is a compelling reason for it to be otherwise, I hope that they will always be 20 minutes or less, and then we get into the news. So I've got a couple of things I actually need to get to.
Yeah, I'm anticipating a topic based on the last Articles of News episode I listened to this morning.
What topic? I probably said we'll talk about that next time, and then
you did. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Some sad news. You were going to a funeral.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let me arrive there. Let me do these couple things before I forget.
Do those first.
First of all, a shout out to Grayson. Grayson is Gene's kid. Gene listened to the ads we have for Best DJ in Utah, and then also that I Help People podcast. Gene is a teacher. Her kids are putting together a podcast, so I recorded a video that said, hey, here are some things to consider about doing a podcast. And Grayson said, there's no way that, or actually Grayson said, make sure that Richie gives us a shout out. Gene said, no way, don't do it. And well, here I've done it.
There you go.
Turning parent against child for now.
Whether you wanted it or not, you got it.
So we got that done. Then there was this from our newest Patreon saint, Danny. He says, I just listened to your episode of Afterglow with Kevin and Joel, and at the end when you had talked about your experience with leading the music, it reminded me of an experience that I had. I've been the music coordinator in my ward for 2 years now, and when I first got called, someone said to me, how many music leaders does it take to change a light bulb? Answer, nobody knows because nobody watches them. Have a great day.
That's a good one. I love that one.
So I thought that was appropriate to share. And then this, you know how I always say within the episodes, hey, you can send us an email, contact@theculturalhall.com, if you might be a good guest or if you want to comment on any of the episodes or like what Danny did as far as the leading goes.
Yeah,
Uh,
and we all know you answer those immediately.
well, I am now repentant at it. Did you hear me and Taylor One Chain Westbrook where I just,
I did.
yeah, I asked for all the repentances. I'm
I
getting
did.
through them now. I'm trying to respond.
Good,
Uh,
good.
Kurt over at Leading Saints, he
Who?
decided Curtis
Kurt. Who's
Frankham,
this Kurt? Oh, Kurt Frankham. Oh.
Curtis. Call him Curtis. He loves that
Oh, I'll go with that from now on.
because he's not a Curtis. I just call
Perfect.
him Curtis. And then he calls me Dick. It's a fun thing that we do back and forth. There's a little behind the scenes thing. He sent me an email, not someone that he necessarily thought that should be a good guest or not, but someone that didn't fit as a guest on his show. So he sent that along and literally just
Thanks, but no
forwarded,
thanks.
yeah, forwarded the email from the other person and said, hey, maybe for you guys, huh? What do you think?
It's funny
So,
you should mention that. I talked to a friend this morning who I think would be a great guest on either program, on either
mm,
podcast, but especially a show in podcast form.
mm.
And so I was going to make intros to both of you today.
Yeah. Do you want the interview to be good or not? Because that's
I
the
want it, well, I want it to be fabulous, of
Oh,
course.
well, then I know which one you'll send it to.
Yeah, you,
Yeah,
of
thank you.
course.
Thank you. Shots fired, Kurt Frankham. And then lastly, let me make sure. I think that probably is enough for now. You can always become a Patreon saint. I call it putting your money where your ears are. Patreon.com/the Cultural Hall. I went to my mission president's funeral. Now,
I heard that. I'm sorry to hear of his passing, but it sounds like the last few years were a challenge.
yeah, and you know what? Funerals getting a little easier, I suppose. You go to more of them.
Yeah.
You start to realize your own mortality as well, I guess. I guess that's what's going on.
I don't know. I went to the most difficult one of my life about a month ago.
Okay. What
Yeah.
made it more difficult?
It was a younger person,
Okay.
fairly newly married and brand new mother who
Okay.
passed away with a baby that's only 10 weeks old.
Oh, yeah. So maybe where some get harder, some get easier. Does
Yeah,
that make
this one
sense?
that was potentially more difficult because the bishop of their ward had to be out of town that day, and so they asked the stake president if I could conduct the funeral,
Oh,
and
geez.
also that means that then I had to give the talk
Yeah.
that talked about kind of wrap things up into the plan of salvation, and that's a challenging thing to do when it's someone you know and love who has passed, as well as people you know and love who are still here.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you do?
So I think I did okay. I think I did okay.
Did you cry?
Yeah, absolutely. But I
Good.
held it fairly well together. So
I am over the point now when people are like, I don't know why I'm crying. I see it a lot at weddings, and I go, because it's a big important thing. Shut
you're
up.
overwhelmed, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Yes. Because of
Yeah.
course, why wouldn't you? What are you dead inside? I like to shame them after that.
That's right. If Elder Eyring can do it regularly, we certainly can.
Yes, that in fact that is how I lead my life entirely. When I come up on problems of science and other things, I think, well, if an iron can do it, why can't I do this right now? And then I
I
get
thought you were
really
going to say
frustrated.
that each problem you have in life, you say, well, if a Christofferson could do this, or if
Nope,
a Gong could do that, or
nope,
if a Suarez can do this,
nope. I strictly stay to the Eyring family.
just the Eyring family.
Yep.
That's pretty safe, actually. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Uh, Here was the a couple things that was unique about this. So, my mission president, his name was Earl Rex Cutler, and I remember that because the one of the only things that I actually remember that he ever taught us is if you were struggling in the morning, you look in the mirror and you get your finger out like a gun and you say your full name and say, "You handsome devil, you." And I remember him saying, "Yeah." So I look in the mirror and I point myself with a gun. I say, "Earl Rex Cutler, you handsome devil, you." So I remember that he
I
was a
love it.
he was a shorter gentleman,
Mhm.
and like an Idaho farm boy, right? So kind of tough and gritty. He was in the church educational system his entire life. That was what his profession was. Institute and seminaries and all the things. And I had forgotten
Mhm.
that. I didn't know that. I'd completely right. But he has a brother whom is almost exactly like him. And when he got up to speak, all of us that were, the elders and sisters of the mission under this mission president who had passed all went, "Oh my gosh." Are you feeling the same exact feelings? Like, because he kind of laughed and does the shoulder.
Same bodily
Yeah,
motions.
right. And rambled like his brother
Oh,
did, and just
nice.
just all those things. So it was a sweet moment. But what I thought was curious, so our mission president sister, Mr. President, his wife passed a couple of
Yeah.
years ago. The tons of people at the funeral, and I got to thinking, I think that probably people in their brain sort of went, "This is our." Respecting them at their passing
Mm.
now. Does that make sense? Because I would expected maybe more to be there for the mission president himself at passing. But there was maybe 15, 20 of us, and I think at the sister mission president's passing, there was probably 50 or 60. I think a lot of people came in, got to see our mission president, see how he was, got to be able to see and be with
Mhm.
him, and then didn't make the trek for this particular
That
funeral.
could be. I'm wondering, I'm thinking also maybe that reflects on the power of mission presidents' partners
Right.
in the mission, and that people probably came to celebrate her as well as support him
Mm,
at her passing, and at his passing, she's no longer there to be supported,
right. Right.
right? So I'm
Could
wondering if
be.
that had some impact on it as well.
It,
Um,
it it was interesting to me. So funeral gets done, which by the way, and this is no disrespect, but funerals are an hour. Don't make funerals an hour and 45 minutes.
that's right.
Don't. Just don't, because people want to honor you and respect you, but like when it becomes an all-day event, and that's the same thing with weddings and any other sort of things. Allow there to be natural times where people can leave if they can't be there for the entire thing.
Right.
We are standing around in kind of a circle as all of the missionaries that are there. We got the obligatory, all the OCM, Ohio Cleveland Mission picture, and everyone's just about the same. And there's the guy that you were so grateful you never got assigned with. That was me. And there was
No way. I don't believe
oh,
that for a
oh yeah.
moment.
No, you should.
No.
And everyone all exactly the same, just a little heavier, little grayer, and a lot older than how we were. But it was like, oh, hey, and it's all the same old jokes. It was so comforting that that's what it was.
Isn't that a cool thing? I think
Yes.
that's really special.
Yeah.
I regret that I didn't hear about the passing of well, I should say, you mentioned it last time, your favorite mission president, the mission
Uh-huh.
president I was most close to. I didn't hear about his passing until after his funeral.
Oh,
And I regret not having been able to be there.
yeah. It was special. The other thing that I thought was kind of cool, and and a little bit of Sons of Mosiah-ish, if we can go here for a second. Like it
Mhm.
was cool to see these elders and sisters and see that they were still like part of the church. And you could kind of tell, like the one that was actually he and I served together. We were in the MTC together, and then we actually got to serve together as well. A little bit of a rarity, although I got to do that with a couple of the elders from my district. I mean, he's like, this is like the second or third time I've been in a church this year, and you can tell that
Mhm.
maybe it's
Mhm.
been a little bit of a whatever, but it was cool. It was still cool to just be like,
And he was
hey,
there.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah,
We
speaking of companions in the MTC, after 2 months, actually after 9 weeks in the MTC with my MTC companion, we would have both signed an affidavit
mhm,
requesting that we never be each other's companion in the mission field.
sure. I I had mine for 2.5 weeks, and he didn't even go on his mission after having to serve with me for 2.5 weeks. That's not a joke. That's not,
Wow.
it's not a joke. He
Wow. I'm
lasted two
sure
and
it
a half
was all
weeks,
your
and
fault.
he said, no thanks. If this is even an inclination of what's to come, hard pass. I'm
He
out.
wasn't ready. He
Yep.
wasn't ready.
You can't handle this, and
It can be
shouldn't have
tough.
to.
It
And
can be
shouldn't have
tough.
to. No, this guy
No.
is specifically. You keep trying to give me the benefit of the doubt and all those things. The worst. I was the worst.
What did you do that was so terrible?
Well, I'll give you for instance, this
Yeah, give me an
missionary that I
example.
was sitting next to, the one that he and I served together. Now, here's the thing. He did say, I will lead with this. He did say, best companion on my mission, greatest time that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And here is how terrible I am. There was one point where, so we had the rules. You had to be up by 6:30. And then you
Right.
had kind of an hour to yourself. You had an hour of personal study. You had an hour of companionship study, and you had to be out the door by 9:30.
Right.
Right. And then throughout the day, you could have lunch for an hour, essentially, and dinner for an hour, and then you had to be
Mm-hmm.
back in at 9:30.
Right.
That was
9:30 and
essentially the
lights
schedule.
out by
Right?
10:30, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, already fairly regimented as well. But with this particular companion, he and I had come in for a lunch. And I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. And it had only been 40 minutes, maybe. We had eaten. We
Mm-hmm.
had gotten the things done that we needed to back at our house or at our apartment. And I said, okay, let's go. And he locked himself in the bathroom until it had been 1 hour because, as he declared emphatically from the toilet, we get an hour and I'm taking an hour.
That doesn't sound like a Richie Elder Stedman problem. That sounds like an Elder whatever problem.
Oh, no, no, because here was the thing, like, and it's a thing that I'm trying to be better about because I recognize all of the negative aspects of this, but it is a thing where it was like, hey, you're an adult person. We need to leave our apartment by 9:30. So if we need to leave early so that we've left by 9:30, let's leave early. I cannot fathom why we are leaving late. It's only 9:32. Okay. It only could have been 9:28. I was that guy.
Ah, okay. Okay. So a little pedantic, as they would say.
Well, it didn't make sense to me. And I recognize how annoying that is. And I do that very same type of thing with my wife. But I'm like, if we're going to do it, let's just do it. And if you don't want to do this, then just tell me that you don't want to do it and we'll do something different. But if we're doing this thing, we can do this thing. You're a grown person. We'll be
Of
out by
course.
9:30. We'll be home by
Yeah,
9:30. It's not a big deal. Okay, it's not a big deal. I didn't think God was going to rain down fire, Baal and all the things. I didn't think any of that. Although there's a story there, I'll tell you sometime. But it was just a thing where I was like, listen, if it's what we're doing, let's do it. Otherwise, let's not pretend that we're going to do it. Let's just do it.
this is one of the great lessons from my mission was that such a strict schedule really doesn't matter in the eyes of the Lord. So I grew up in a family where my mother, who's fantastic, and I love her dearly, but her rule was if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I grew up in that kind of environment where everything was on schedule, regimented. We did this, we do that, we do these things. Why would we ever go to church late? That would be,
Sure.
wrong, almost a sin. Well, I got to Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Nothing runs on time. There is no schedule. We would show up for baptisms. Water wouldn't be in the font. The very first thing I realized when I got to Haiti is they had taken the schedule in what was the White Handbook at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they had completely moved it around because that's what was needed in Haiti.
Sure.
And I realized, I get it. Those are recommendations and serious recommendations, but under the right inspiration, the right authority, you can change any of it
Right.
in the goal of helping people get closer to Christ.
Sure.
And so that was the huge lesson of my mission is you can do things all different ways. And after one companion I had for 4 months, if we got out within 1 hour of the time we were supposed to be leaving, I was absolutely thrilled.
Right.
And if we were able to come in, at least an hour to go when we were supposed to be coming in, he had a hard time serving
Sure.
according to the recommended schedule. I was thrilled.
Yeah.
So taught me a huge lesson in flexibility and adaptability.
And for me, it just entrenched me that much harder for the next companion, unfortunately. And
That's
then I
great.
got home and I go, I probably should have done that a little differently. But I did it. I did it the way I did
You
it.
did it.
And people served with me that needed a little bit of that guy. Would I do it
Absolutely.
the same way? No, I wouldn't do it the same way.
No, you're 50 years older now.
Okay.
Well, okay, not quite.
Okay.
Not quite.
What am I?
I'm just
you?
saying that because I
What
have
am I,
I have
you?
yes, I'm just saying that because I have a not so substantial birthday coming up here in the next week or so.
Yeah, the big 4-0. Give it up for
Exactly.
Berlin. Pew,
Plus
pew,
21.
pew.
The
Uh,
40 plus my
21.
post-mission age.
Yeah, 60. Why is that? Why is 61 a big one?
That's what I said. It's a not so big.
Oh, I thought you said it's a
Yeah.
big one. I was like, wait a minute.
Not so notable.
Yeah, no.
No,
Another day. Lucky
exactly.
if Susan remembers.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
She remembered she already had my party this past Friday night.
Got it
So,
taken care of.
yep.
Good. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to do actual articles of news. Let me take just a moment to tell you all about bestdjinutah.com. That is the website where you can learn all about me. Oh, sure, you probably feel like you know me, but you know me in the cultural hall sense. I have a DJ company now, 6 of us strong. Great event hosts, MCs, and DJs that can be able to make whatever event you have coming up absolutely spectacular, and hope you will reach out to us. Now you're thinking, well, wait a minute, Richie. I don't live in Utah. Would you travel? Absolutely, I would travel. Would they travel? Absolutely, they would travel. Whatever your event is, doesn't have to be a wedding or a community event. We can do all sorts of things. I can teach you line dancing. I can dance with you. We can do partner dancing. We can do all kinds of things, but we can't do any of it if you don't hit me up. You can go to bestdjinutah.com. You can fill out the form to get more information or get a quote, and then I will get right back to you. Find out why I'm so busy and why sometimes we don't get episodes of the Cultural Hall. It's all because of bestdjinutah.com. Here in the second half of Articles of News, we do actual articles of news. Hit it, Peter Breinholt.
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go. Representing the University of Utah and BYU, our colors of our shirts. Be sure you subscribe to the Cultural Hall's YouTube channel. Why don't you? You know, we're not far off where we can start being included in like algorithms and money things. And a huge shout out to Grant, who does that. If you've noticed the thumbnails, he's actually making thumbnails now and doing like what YouTube people do. It's awesome. We had a video that was like 3,000, 4,000 plus views. It went viral in our words, and for people who can't see it, I air quoted viral around 3,000 because I know that that's not viral necessarily, but where people were like, yeah, it's gotten around to a lot of people. Care to
That's
guess which
awesome.
episode it was?
I don't know.
It is the one with a couple of BYU professors about getting your kids to study the scriptures to keep them in the church.
Wow.
People really latched onto that.
They jumped in. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm encouraged by that. It wasn't one of the Secret Wives episodes. That's great.
Although I think second most listened to / watched is the Mormon Wives episode.
The two of us, two older gentlemen talking about the Secret Wives.
You know, you keep trying to lump me into you, Verlin. I appreciate
You're closer to me than you are to my grandchildren. So
okay. I'll take that, I guess. Doesn't make me older, as you just prefaced that whole thing.
Wiser.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just smarter. Here's the thing. Breaking news today. In fact, the article says May 15th, 2025. So that's in the future. We have this news already. I was able to go
travel.
into the future.
It happened.
The Covey Center for the Arts, that's an arts house down in Utah County, in the Provo, Utah, announced that it will present the North American premiere of The Osmonds, a new musical. Now, here's the thing. I didn't know about this. Ran 200 performances in the United Kingdom. It was...
that makes sense.
Yeah, this was like last year. It's written by Jay Osmond. He wrote it in late 2023. It follows the rise of the Osmond family as they become one of the most popular singing groups of the 1970s. Songs like One Bad Apple, Yo-Yo, Crazy Horses, and the success with the Donnie and Marie show. And it's coming to Utah County. Will there ever be a show so big as the Osmonds musical in Utah County? I say unto you, nay, nay. That will be the biggest show in the history of Utah County. It doesn't open for a year.
Oh, wow.
It comes in 2026, but they have announced it, and tickets are now on sale. You can go to coveycenter.org if you would like to go to The Osmonds, a new musical in its North American premiere.
I'd love to know who's acting in that musical.
Well, you got to have, I mean, you got to know that there's Osmond third generation auditioning
You
for
would
it.
hope so.
Yeah.
You would hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. I think David Osmond's kid would
Okay.
be something like that.
Jimmy Osmond's kid,
Yeah. Because you got to have second generation's too old.
grandkids. Yeah, that's
Osmond
right.
second
That's right.
generation's too
Well,
old.
they could be the parents.
Yeah. Could be. Could be. Could be. I honestly, I am thinking about getting opening night tickets and giving them to my stepmom, who loves Donny Osmond so much she's made the pilgrimage to Las Vegas like 7 times to see him. How many Osmonds will be at that opening night performance? Thousands is the answer.
That's awesome. I'm tempted to tell you to get me a ticket for that opening.
Okay, well, maybe I'll
Yeah.
buy a couple extra, and if you're around,
Yeah. I will try to schedule myself to be there. Now, do you have an idea why they done it in the UK before they brought it back to America?
well, I mean, Osmond's still huge in the United Kingdom.
Massive.
Donny Osmond just got done fairly recently playing the Pharaoh in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat over in United Kingdom.
Yeah. I spent some time in the United Kingdom. In fact, over a year in the United Kingdom, my first year of high school.
Okay.
And in my ward, my Sunday school teacher at the time, she claimed that she had been baptized because of Donny Osmond.
Sure. I met
And she
2 people
talked
in
about
Ohio,
how many
same deal.
people had been baptized because of Donny Osmond. And it was like the core of the church there were people that were into the Osmonds.
So my speculation, though I don't know, and maybe I need to reach out to Jay Osmond, is the United Kingdom said, "Hey, we'll do that." Here, he shopped it
Yeah.
around a bunch of places,
Yeah.
and some house in the United Kingdom said, "Yeah, we'll put that in. Let's
It'd
do
be cool
that."
to find out, did they actually play on the West End, which is an amazing theater district and has amazing art, amazing renditions of plays.
All right, I'll find out. Jay
Yeah,
Osmond, if
yeah.
you're connected, if you know Jay Osmond,
Now, the
contact
next
the
question, the
Hall.
next question is, did it play on the West End, and did they do it in what the British would call pantomime form?
Meaning
Which,
they
for
didn't
those that
speak?
don't know, so you've watched Peter. You've seen Peter Pan? Have
Sure,
you seen Peter Pan in play form?
sure.
And who always plays Peter Pan?
It's a woman.
It's always a woman. That's British pantomime. The lead male character is played by a woman in every pantomime form of a play. And the lead woman character is always played by a man in the same play.
Interesting. You know, that makes a scene for I'm a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll just a little bit turned on its head if it's done in. I swear
Wouldn't
he
that
was.
be cool?
I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
would
never
suspect-
laughed more in my life than seeing a pantomime version play on the West End.
I would suppose not,
Probably not.
but I'll find out. Jay
But to hit those high notes that he used to sing as a young boy, my gosh, it would be a benefit to be a woman.
I'm telling you though, Utah County's talent, it's going to be a show of all shows.
True. Yeah, it'll be good.
In a completely unrelated story at all, has nothing to do with it, is a different story, absolutely and completely. You had a follow-up story that you wanted to make sure we got in here.
I did. I can't remember. I think it was you and was it you and Charmaine that talked about this
Could have
a
been.
few episodes ago? She's a lawyer, right?
She is, in fact, down in the
Yes.
state of Texas.
That's right. An attorney, I should say, Charmaine Esquire. And anyway, the lawsuit in California that's been talked about many times, where there were these 100+ lawsuits as part of this 3-year open window that California opened up for anyone to bring any cases about sexual assault. The headline is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has agreed in principle to settle more than 100 child sexual abuse lawsuits filed against it last year across California. So it appears that they have reached a settlement, and this not only applies to cases in California, but it sounds like from the article that it included cases outside of California. And they have settled for an undisclosed amount. And I thought something that was very interesting in the article is they talked a little bit about the process of settling these financially. It sounds like what they've done is they've settled it for a total budget of X. And then depending on the plaintiff and the situation around that particular case, those plaintiffs will receive varying amounts of financial compensation.
Interesting.
So depending on how long the abuse lasted, was it years or a one-time event, how well known, how terrible the abuse was, taking all of that into consideration, then the plaintiffs will receive a financial settlement. The interesting thing here is the article also says that each plaintiff will have to sign off on the settlement, and if they do not sign off on the settlement, the judge can choose to carve out their case so that the settlement amount is reduced, but also that individual still holds the right to sue the organization on their own should they wish.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts around all that then?
My thoughts are this is the best way that a lawsuit ends for most parties because there's a settlement, there is some compensation, there is some recognition that something bad occurred, but it removes the need to re-traumatize all of the plaintiffs again through a court of law and testimony. And from the church's point of view, it certainly results in less press, less exposure, and probably less financial implications.
Sure.
The only concern I have is because it's not going through to a complete final court experience is that my take would be the church would take it even more seriously if and when that occurred and may drive additional changes in our current policies and practices. I'm hoping the church does that anyway.
Right. And I guess in my heart of hearts, I don't know how this would be, and I understand completely why they do not do something like this. But even with those considerations sort of mentioned, I would love it if it was like, hi, body of the church, this recently was done, and we did this, and we're so sorry that these things occur, and we're constantly trying to make and observe better practices, and can do that with your cooperation as you guys are aware, as you guys are being better trained, as you all are, and together we can make this, occur far less. We can never guarantee that it's not going to happen, but, our heart breaks for those people who've experienced this. This is not how we've wanted it to be. We know that these are individuals' choices and that unfortunately people have agency, but we are committed to making this occur less and less based on what we observe. I would love something like that. I know why
I think
they
that
don't
would be
do it.
it would be wonderful if the church would make a statement like that. But even more so, I think even more important is the church continues to make the changes necessary to try to minimize this.
Yep.
Right. And minimize it in terms of minimize the occurrences that things like these abuses happen. Not minimize cases, not minimize financial fines, but minimize the actual occurrence of the abuse.
When I say the name Britton Covey, do you know who that is?
I do.
For
One
those
of the few players that I wish would have played at BYU.
Yeah, and didn't, because why? Dad, grandpa?
I don't know.
Recruited differently?
I'm going to just trust that he judged all the options and chose an option that he thought was going to best work for him. And he certainly had a successful college career, and by all measures has had a fantastic pro career so far.
Yeah, he part of the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles last year. He attended, for those that didn't maybe catch it, went to the University of Utah. He's not, if you were to see him, and this is what I'm constantly, and this is no sort of shade, and the guy's a millionaire, so hear me, Britton Covey, that I'm not saying anything except that when you look at him, you don't sort of think, oh, there's an NFL player.
Well, it's like saying you look at Bill Belichick and you wouldn't say there's the most successful NFL coach ever.
Exactly. I would, yes. 100% that, but yet there Bill Belichick and also Britton Covey is.
Yeah.
He now just signed with the Los Angeles Rams, but there's
he
a
gets
story.
To go play with Puka Nacua, another member of the church who's a phenomenal NFL player right now.
Who went to BYU.
Yes.
It's important that we get that in.
with one of his brothers and another brother who I believe is at BYU here this next season.
Not that you follow BYU football.
Not at all.
That's not what you're saying. But the story is about how Britton Covey is receiving an Interfaith Award in the Philadelphia area because of his work. Now, here is another thing that I have just found completely interesting is that, and I suppose I think about this, like I'm hanging out in the locker room, right? And already I've got locker room voice as I'm talking about in the locker room. And it's a lot of egos. It's a lot of, it's a lot of money that's being made. It's a lot of eyeballs on all these things, on all these people. But Britton Covey is such a guy. And by the way, related to that Covey, I think that was his grandpa. Stephen
I think
R.
you're
Covey
right.
is his
That's
grandpa.
right. Yeah.
But is
Author
a man,
of 7 Habits of Successful People and many other great books.
Franklin Covey sound familiar? That Covey, those Coveys.
Wait, if you have a day planner, then it's that Covey.
See, kids, a day planner is. So it's what you used to have on your phone. And then we had Palm Pilots. Did you ever have a Palm Pilot, Verlin?
Never a Palm Pilot. No,
No?
no.
Really? You strike
I
me as
never
a
had a
Palm
Palm Pilot.
Actually, no, I take that back. You're a day planner guy.
Well, I went from the day planner to the tablet that I take every note on. I
Yeah.
have not taken a physical note in years, but
Yeah.
my tablet.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you also give me like day planner till the day you die vibes a little bit too, just so you know. Just a little.
I am so anti that you would not believe it.
But the power of an individual. So I guess, they're in the locker room and, these are a lot of guys who have never probably met a member of the church, never been able to, talk about what a Mormon person is. But they had a very faith-centered team.
Yeah.
People that would text each other, little like scriptures or motivational things before games would be. Covey was able to share things of his mission when he served in Chile. He just, it's incredible to me the way that one person can be the difference. And
Well, it comes down to one of his quotes. He says, "Faith, when exercised in the right way, brings out the best in humanity." And
yeah,
it sounds like he exercised his faith in the right way to support and encourage other team members who were believers.
Another quote that he said that I particularly appreciate is, it's nice to be around other like-minded guys that respect each other's faith. That's what I think this whole thing is all about, encouraging people in their own faith beliefs. I think that's huge. And it's an environment where I would not think, and I don't know why, but like, because you hear players that are, like, I thank God for being able to be here. And
Or pointing to the sky after a touchdown.
they get the touchdown and they point this guy or whatever. And it's not that I don't think that they're being sincere when they're doing it, but I guess for whatever reason, I just sort of think like that's it. That's all they're
That's their recognition.
doing. Yeah,
Right.
that's the recognition. But this is a whole team of people being like, yeah, my faith in God. Yeah, you bet. Here it is. It's awesome. What an incredible thing.
It's super. It's super. And the award he received is the 2025 Dare to Understand Award that is provided by a group. Oh, now I'm going to lose the name of the group. Interfaith Philadelphia, a 21-year-old nonprofit organization. This is the 13th award they've given out, and it went to Britton Covey. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
Great example for the Saints in the Philadelphia area. And, he's doing firesides and being able to be like, hey, just do it in your way and be a good person. And it matters. It matters. Those kind of examples are great.
Great examples. Now he heads to Los Angeles and will join others and hopefully continue that great example.
I've heard that they're going to do a duet, Puka Nakua and Britton Covey. I'm not sure exactly what they're singing, but I'm looking forward to that musical.
Oh, come on. What's the most common duet in primary?
Heavenly Father.
There you go.
I would pay so much. Can you imagine? Especially if, and this again,
if we could what about an NFL choir of all the members?
Yes.
That would be fantastic.
A duet of Puka Nakua and Britton Covey singing Child's Prayer. I'll tell you what, even if it was so tone deaf, Like not tone deaf like socially. I mean tone deaf like literally tone deaf.
Like no, not on key in any
Yeah,
way,
not
shape, or
on key.
form.
How amazing would that be?
That would be even better if it wasn't on key,
Yes.
honestly.
Yeah. If it
Yeah.
sounded good, I'd be like, no, great. They're great singers too. Leave some talent for the rest of us, you
Yeah,
guys.
we don't need auto tune. We need
Yeah.
the real thing.
Actually, I don't know. I'd take an auto tune, A Child's Prayer with Britton Covey and Puka Nakua. They're in the
You and I should do that. Maybe we
they're
can
in
use
the
auto tune.
locker room.
Yeah.
Play auto
You
tune.
know, a side note, I don't know if this is true in Utah, but here in the South in North Carolina, it is not a rare thing to go to a college football game or a high school football game and
Mm-hmm.
see either before the game or after the game, both teams having a little prayer group somewhere on the field.
It happens. It happens.
Okay.
Yep. It
Pretty
happens in
common
Idaho,
here.
I know too.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
good,
Yeah, I think so.
especially when it's made up of both teams.
Yes. Well, I mean, and we've talked about this before, but it's worth mentioning again. The thing that BYU football started doing, I don't know how long ago, where when they're in town to play a football game, they do service at some place before the game
Hmm.
or the week of the
Yeah,
game. Game
yeah.
changing.
Yes,
Whoever came up with that idea, I feel like all of the sports should go and do that and do it alongside the other team, right? Hey, other
exactly.
team, let's go together. Let's do this thing for this community. And oh, we hate you. We're going to get you on the field. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
But let's go
yeah.
do this thing.
In fact, I'm on the planning committee. BYU is coming to Eastern Carolina University
Mm-hmm.
mid-September, and
Mm-hmm.
we're having a huge tailgate. And part of that tailgate is a huge service project where we're
What are you
gathering
doing?
food for a food pantry.
Okay.
And it's called the Purple Pantry. The
Okay.
Purple Pantry is a food pantry that specifically targets students of Eastern Carolina University who do not have enough food and who don't have the means to buy the food that they need. And so we're going to help them completely stock this pantry. The hope is that we'll provide enough food for at least 1 month of their needs, if not more.
Huge.
And it'll be huge. We'll have a semi truck there and loading the truck full of this donated food all throughout the event.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you need a mascot, I could be the Purple Pantry Door. I'm
Oh,
just a Purple Pantry Door.
we do need a DJ, but I
Well,
believe you told me that you were already taken that night.
I can do a video pretending to be a Purple Pantry Door. Let me know. That may be the best I can do.
Nice.
Let's go here to this story, and then we're going to get into plenty of Secret Lives of Mormons' Wives
Oh my gosh.
story because it comes out this
It's
week.
coming. It's
We are
coming.
just a couple
Have you
days away from
scheduled
it
your
now.
binge time? I've got to schedule it on my calendar.
I don't know. I looked at what day it comes out, and then I looked at how many work things I have. It may
Yeah.
not work that well.
The
I may have to
15th.
do,
So that's Thursday.
yes.
Does it come
I'm
out
working.
Thursday morning at midnight or
Yes.
Thursday
No,
evening at
it's
midnight?
like the day of the 15th, right? So they
Okay,
all become
okay.
available all at the same time. For the
Ooh.
next 2 weeks, it will be all of the things that the news talks about in relation to
Yeah.
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day
Yeah.
Saints and beyond, but most about the next 2 weeks. Here's the deal. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Let's go here. The Young Single Adult Conferences. I thought this was cool. There are 9 of them,
Way cool. There's more. They miscounted.
plus one for single adults.
There's 10. Yeah.
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 Now here's the thing for you Utah listeners. The Utah Area Young Single Adult Conference, August 29th through the 31st. You can already buy tickets. Bay Area already happened, I guess, 9th through the 10th.
I guess through the 9th through the 10th.
So must have just happened. They had.
And by the way, I think the Bay Area has the very best venue for this out of all of these.
Tell me.
So if you've ever been to the Oakland Temple, there
Yes.
is what is called the Interstake Center, which is a multi-stake center, a huge performance theater,
Is
and all kinds of facilities around it, including multiple gyms where the Warriors used to practice.
okay.
And so it's a massive, wonderful facility on what they call Temple Hill, which is the hill on Lincoln Avenue where the Oakland Temple resides. And so
Okay.
just a fantastic, you can see San Francisco from anywhere on the property across the bay. It's just an amazing environment to have this kind of activity.
You'll find a link to all these, by the way, in the show notes, and we're going to go through them pretty quick. The one in
Yep.
DC, There you can go. Obviously, it's DC, so you can go do this. You don't have to be from DC. You just got to get yourself
No,
to
young single
DC.
adults can go to any of these.
Yeah. There's a formal gala at the Museum of the Bible. You get to go to the Washington D.C. Temple, service projects, workshops, pickleball, sightseeing tours, and many more. That's June 13th through the 15th, so still plenty of time to be able to do that. You have to do it this weekend if you want to go to Pocatello. The Pocatello YSA conference is the 14th through the 17th at the ICCU Dome. That's got to be some sort of sponsorship thing. Sister Dennis, Elder Bangerter, they're going to have skating, escape rooms, dancing, and
They're going to
games.
have Vocal Point and Noteworthy there as well, performing.
And you can go to Lava Hot Springs as part of that young single adult conference. Tell me about Denver, Colorado, Verlin.
A Denver, Colorado conference will take place the end of this month, the 29th through the 31st at the Highlands Ranch Stake Center. Keynote speakers will be Elder Stephen Bangeter, who's also speaking in Idaho, by the way, and Elder Pinnegree, both General Authority 70s. And also somebody you probably know from a previous life working at BYU is relationship coach Matt Townsend will also be one of the speakers.
Now, technically, the show that I did down at BYU took over after Matt Townsend left.
Oh, did it?
Familiar
Okay.
with Matt Townsend. Yep.
They just kept playing his reruns then afterwards.
just like mine. Hear me on BYU radio anytime. Kansas City, Missouri. You think it's time to go back to Missouri? You're wrong. We haven't got that call yet. But are you ready for this? Speakers will include Elder Ames, Curtis Frankham, host of the Leading Saints podcast.
The one, the only.
Porter Ellett, the assistant coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. Couldn't get the big dog, I guess. Strive to Be artist Ashley Hess and Christian pop duo, former guest of the Cultural Hall, the Truman Brothers, will be there doing that as well.
Nice.
Another one. Tell me about Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, June 11th through the 14th. The St. Paul Minneapolis YSA Conference will take place at the Oakdale Stake Center. And they will have Relief Society General President Camille Johnson and Elder Egbo, a General Authority 70, who we all heard in General Conference a couple of years ago. Great General Conference talk, and you have to watch it on video because he is so expressive in his talk compared to most General Authorities. It'll include classes, workshops, temple, off-site service projects, tons of recreational activities, including a dry bar comedy show.
That's safe comedy for you to be able to listen to around your church friends. In Rexburg, I deleted the date. Hold on. June 20th through the 28th in Rexburg, the Nashville Tribute Band. They're going to have a luau, speed dating. It's fun to me that they're
and a drone show.
Things. Yeah.
Cool.
Get in on that. Find your eternal companion. We're not done yet. More events. Let's go.
No, August 1st through the 4th in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Perfect time to be in Calgary is in August. I actually was snowed on just outside of Calgary in late July one year. They've got Sister Andrea Spanias, second counselor in the Young Women's General Presidency, who will do a devotional. And Keith Erickson, director of historical research and outreach for the church, and Claire Haney Brown, associate historian with the church history department, will speak at the conference.
Keith Erickson, one of my favorite previous guests of the Cultural Hall.
Yeah, he was great. They'll also have a variety of activities, including sailing, bowling, hiking, dancing, paintball matches. Wouldn't that be awesome? And more.
Shoot the one you love with a paintball. This is one that I actually, I never wish to be single again, ever. My wife was asking me about that the other day. She's like, do you ever, because when we were first married, this was just, 5-6 years ago. When we were first married, there was a very, very small part of me that missed sort of the outlandish drama that occurs when you're dating. Where you'd go out on a date with someone and then you'd come home and you'd be like, what just happened?
Was a dumpster fire.
Yes. Yeah. I can't believe that. There was a small part when we first got married, or when we were together and then got married, that I was like, I know you and I love you and that's great, but I also know you and I love you and you're not ever going to do anything that I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
There is a certain adrenaline rush from people doing crazy things you did not expect. But that's why we go to fasted testimony meeting.
Yes, that's how I get my fix now. But I saw that they're doing a young single adult conference in Chicago, the 8th through the 10th of August. Here's the thing. They are doing a semi-formal dinner and dance, and it doesn't say it in here, but I think I looked at the website, and the place that they're doing the semi-formal dinner and dance is super cool. It's one of these old-timey Chicago buildings. So cool.
Oh, nice.
And then I got to thinking, why don't we do this stuff for like married people within the church? And I know why we don't, and I get it and all the things, but let's bring back a blue and gold. No, blue and green. What was it? What was the thing?
Gold and green.
Gold and green. Let's bring back one of those.
The gold and green balls. Yeah.
Yes. Let's the galas. Let's go.
That
let's
was the
bring it
young
back.
married galas, right? I think
Yes,
that's what they were.
Let's
Yeah.
bring them back.
That's crazy. I think the one in Boise, Idaho looks like a winner as well. They're going to have it at the Nampa Civic Center, which tells me it's not in Boise, Idaho, after all. But it's August 13th through 16th. And they've got a good lineup of speakers as well. Brother Brad Wilcox, as well as BYU University professor Hank Smith, also podcaster, and BYU professor John By the Way. For those of us of a certain age, we raised our children on John By the Way tapes. And they've also got journalist and author Jan Clayson Johnson, who will be
Jane Clayson Johnson.
Jane, sorry. Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. 3 of the 4 of those have been previous guests of the Cultural Hall.
They
John,
have.
by the way, haven't got him.
Okay, I'm gonna take that as a personal goal to get John.
Do it.
Yeah.
I've even talked to Hank. He and Hank are great friends.
They're on their podcast every week. Yeah.
John.
You know why he can't do it? Actually, I'm surprised they can't do it now because both of them have this podcast, and I don't know if you ever listen to them, but it is by far the longest Come Follow Me podcast each week. Oh my gosh. 2.5 hours usually.
And it still performs really well. Good for them. All of the things.
It does.
The thing with John, he won't come on because I am not the guy who submits questions in advance. And though I would never have the gotcha moments, Hank has mentioned to me that he doesn't love the idea of me just being able to ask him whatever I want to ask him, which is no sort of slight. There are plenty of people that are like that.
Yeah.
I am bound.
You are not dangerous to John in any way, not a threat. In fact, my first connection with John, I'm thinking 1992, 1993, he came out to North Carolina and spoke at our youth conference for the Raleigh Stake.
Wow.
And did a fantastic job. And if I remember correctly, I think Charlene Wells came with him at the same time. It was a fantastic youth conference.
All right. You've been called out, John, by the way.
Yep. Maybe we can get Kurt to do a little lobbying. We'll get Hank to do a little lobbying.
You mean Curtis?
Curtis, exactly. Curtis F. What's Kurt's middle name? We need to start calling him by his full general authority name.
Oh, I am not doing that. That is a guy that would appreciate that too much. That is a guy that would be like, well, it is. And he's told me it's something very paternal. It's like, it's something like
Michael Frankham or something like that.
No. I think it's very much like old timey name.
Mahanrai Moriankamer?
Like Curtis Stan or Curtis. We don't have those names very much anymore. I don't know that, and it's not actually Curtis. So yes, I think what we call him by a full, not real name.
We're giving him way too much airtime this time.
Way too much. Way too much. Yep. Well, he is speaking at a youth conference after all,
and he's coming to North Carolina at the end of June.
At your invitation, thank you very much.
Yes.
So now we get into this. Let us talk a little bit about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. There's a story. Oh, hallelujah. We finally have the swig orders of the Secret Lives of
I've been
Mormon
waiting
Wives.
so long.
Yes. This is, I don't know that I can actually do this story.
I actually found this entertaining. So.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think it's hilarious that they go through cast member by cast member with their preferred order.
Yeah, that's literally it doesn't sound like that's what this article is about, or certainly there's no way they could completely make an article out of, oh, nope, that's what this is. So, Demi.
Did you know that Layla and Miranda both ordered the same thing?
You shut up. What?
Now, this is misnamed because neither one of them has any carbonation in their preferred beverage. A water-based drink with strawberry puree, sugar-free vanilla, sugar-free coconut, and coconut cream.
Yeah,
Although Layla takes out the frozen strawberries, just for the record.
because it's a consistency thing. Who wants to chew fruit while you're drinking? That's the worst. If you're going to do a thing, have it finely pureed. Whitney's go-to is sparkling water with sugar-free vanilla, sugar-free peach, sugar-free pineapple, raspberry puree, and a squirt of lime. Here's the deal. I'm not going to go through all of these, but that's literally what this article is about, what their specific drinks are.
Link to it in the notes. Personally, I think Macy's is the best order.
Go on.
Hers is just Diet Coke with fresh lemon and fresh lime.
Yes.
Really simple, crisp, and fresh.
I can't drink diet or sugar-free crap. This is so I've got everyone who is watching on YouTube. They say I've got a can right there. This is my beverage of choice. It's not sugar-free at all, and my dentist would not approve. But here's what happens when I drink.
Living the word of wisdom by drinking that? That's what my question is.
I drink my caffeine cold. It's fine.
It's not the cold. It's how much caffeine is in that little yellow can.
You know what? Caffeine is not against the word of wisdom.
It's not at all.
No.
Not at all.
So butt out. Yowd. Bishop Yowd. Judgy McJudger and Zion. I know I should drink more of that. Here's the deal. He's got sparkling water for it. Anyway, so what'll happen is if I drink something that's sugar-free, this happened the other night. Someone was being very kind. They got me a Coke. And I drink a regular Coke, and they got me a Coke Zero, and I didn't really pay attention. I was just thirsty, and I thought, they saw me get one of these already. They handed me another one. I crack it open, and I go, oh, this is so chemically. All those sugar-free swig options. I know, I guess, like if you want to enjoy it and you have diabetes or some other thing, or the fats or the sugars, and I get it, but it is not an experience that's enjoyable when it's sugar.
This is why I switched to sparkling water, not because of the chemical taste, because I'm personally, I believe, addicted to the chemicals. That bitter aftertaste that comes from a Diet Coke and a Diet Coke only.
Yes.
There's nothing like it. I crave that taste, and it was so bad that I had to switch it up and go to sparkling water.
Sparkling water, though, for me, because you can get a good sparkling water that has the burn, which is 75% of the reason why I drink sodas in the first place, is so that I can go.
So that hits the back of your throat.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a secret.
So much for sodas. Yeah.
The way that Secret Lives of Mormon Wives captivated viewers.
There's 5 ways, right? And I know you're a sucker for a list. So when I saw this, I'm like, this has Richie's name all over it, although it's terrible.
It's a season 2, ahead of season 2. They've given us 5 things. This is why you will watch season 2. Let's do it in 5-1 order. I'll take the odds.
Certainly, 5, Dr. Letterman.
From the home offices in Indiana. I saw him, by the way, I saw him do, David Letterman, that is. I saw him do the Kennedy.
The Kennedy Center.
The Kennedy Center now to Conan. That is not okay. So let me make sure I make this reference. This is not, if you have a problem with language in comedic purposes, do not watch this. If you do not have a problem, watch it. It is so well crafted. Some of the homages to Conan O'Brien from the Kennedy Center. Anyway, number 5, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I should have taken my Adderall later today than I did. Number 5, Mormon Wives star Michaela Matthews is pregnant with baby number 4, and I can't wait to find out more about it.
And number 4, pregnant Jen Affleck, not related to Ben Affleck as it turns out, explains why she went to an 11-day wellness retreat.
I can't wait. Come on. Does it have to be still 2 days from now? Number 3, Mormon Wives Jen Affleck cries over the hardest year amid split rumors.
Oh,
she gonna be
tears
okay?
are coming. They're welling up. Number 2, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Season 2, Everything to Know.
Which I don't know what that is.
I don't understand that at all.
I
think they just didn't have enough for 5, and they just threw that in there.
Guys, 4 doesn't sound as cool as 5.
Oh,
And then number one, why everyone will be captivated as we get to season number 2. Mormon wives Taylor Frankie Paul and Dakota Mortenson's relationship timeline. Are they together? Do they even talk to each other? How
what really happened?
will we walk alongside that? Hold on tight. We will do in the next couple of weeks, we will do an entire episode only about the secret lives of Mormon wives. We will have it be with people who care a whole lot about it. So if that is not you, make sure that you just skip on past that.
No, you got to listen just for the train wreck.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think that's a fair point. There are 2 stories that we have yet to do. We can probably pump them out really quick if
Yeah,
you are willing. These
yeah.
are
I'll take
non-secret
the
lives.
first story. The first one I think is a really cool story. The Navajo Nation. There is a community in Westwater, Utah, that experienced a transformation several years ago as they, for the first time, received electricity just in 2022. And just earlier this year, they finally also received water. In both cases, the church participated in making donations and providing resources to get those to that community. So although it's just a 27 home community or a 21 home community in Westwater, the ability to have finally running water in Westwater, along with the electricity that they had, is brilliant. And it seems like the community, the Navajo Nation, the church, all of them just have a great relationship in making those kinds of things happen.
I really appreciated the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Utah said, what this project shows is that the impossible becomes possible when we work together, when we stay at the table, when we overcome challenges and obstacles that will inevitably block our path. We find a way around those obstacles by working together. We are the Beehive State. The beehive is our state emblem, and it means something. It means we are a community. My former boss, Elder Dunn of the 70,
Mhm.
is the one that was representing the church on in behalf there. I am going to reach out to him because I would love to know what that experience was like to be able to be there, be a part of it. I know he'll have to get permission, but he knows me well enough. We might be able to get a 70 on the show, he said, hopefully and optimistically. And then this members of the Mormon Women for Ethical Government, a previous episode of the Cultural Hall.
Mhm.
It is by the way, a nonpartisan, nonprofit initiated an interfaith project called Peace, PEACE, by Peace, PIECE, to express concerns about perceived abuses of the U.S. democratic system and the importance of the Constitution. They were joined by allies such as the Jewish group A More Perfect Union, MWEG, which is Mormon Women for Ethical Government, and others across the country created a 10 by 10 inch fabric squares bearing messages focused on themes like keep it constitutional, keep it kind, checks and balances, the rule of law, and due process. And these individual squares were stitched together to create 57 quilts. Events were held across the country where women gathered to create the quilt squares, fostering community and conversation. The completed quilts were scheduled to be hand-tied and delivered to members of Congress. Participants felt a responsibility to speak out and to take action to safeguard democratic principles. So,
I mean, this is a classic. I don't know how many people know, but in revolutionary times and Civil War times, during the fight for civil rights, this was actually a pretty common thing that women would get together and they would put messages into quilt squares. Some of them pretty obvious, some of them less so,
hmm.
and make these kinds of quilts and tapestries and rugs. In fact, there was a museum exhibit right next to the Manhattan Temple a few years ago that showed some of these historical handiwork, and they really make an impression on the people they're given to.
That's awesome. I had no idea that it was
Yeah, there's
it was
a
based in
big
history.
history. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, incredible. I think if you haven't heard the episode with MWEG, you should go back and do it. Also, if you want to make old episodes more available to people, consider being a Patreon saint, or you can consider being the sponsor of the Cultural Hall's Granite Vault as we look to start making those old episodes available to folks. You can email us, contact@theculturalhall.com, or you can become a Patreon saint at patreon.com/the Cultural Hall. Verlin, we did it.
We did it.
I hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
And if you weren't healthy enough to listen this week, you'll be healthy enough to listen next week.
And that when the time comes, you, yes, you, will be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger, with a U, will be saving a seat for you
On the back row of the Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row.